Hey everyone, Strangers103 here today with yet another replay cast. We're looking at Arctic Heat playing in North Carolina in very favorable matchmaking actually. Two top tier battleships, it's a tier 6 to 8 game. And we're in North Carolina. We have, once we get up the team list again, let's have a look at the matchmaking. Double US versus double Baguette. We have New Orleans and Hippa versus Mogami and Kutuzov. So, with the Bloodfist there, they definitely have a cruiser advantage over there. Although we do get a radar, which could potentially become useful if we're able to take advantage of it. Tier 6 carriers, so I don't think anyone really is anywhere there. And with this player on the team, we're definitely going to lose. Okay. So we're already playing 11 versus 13, which is rather quite not nice. No clue what the hell the guy's even talking about, but matchmaking wise, we're actually, quite reasonable. We get a whiskey and an eagle, they get an eagle at Sahara, so they get better concealment, but we get a lot better firepower on our destroyers, which is useful considering the fact that it is in fact a standard battle. Battleship wise, it's hard really to say who gets an advantage. These Leos are a lot more mobile than us, but in a tier 8 game, the unreliability of these guns could prove to be an issue against especially weaker armored targets where they're just going to overpen everything and their, well, armor plates. Firepower wise, I'd say they have the advantage in the cruisers and whatnot, but hey, we'll just play ball. We're heading to the eastern side of the map. We kind of got a central spawn. Personally, I dislike the eastern side of the map, but I believe that whoever gets the western side of the map has a much higher chance of winning the game. I just think that the western side of the map is... It's kind of harder to lock down. Like, you try to fight around here, you're fighting in the open, whereas there's a lot of islands here that can be used. These are way too small to really use to kind of lock down a flank. Whereas these are big enough, you can kind of lock things down a lot easier on the east, in my opinion. It's harder to breach the east than it is to breach the west, mostly because these islands are too central, in my opinion. Anyways, trying to talk some sense into an enemy player. I don't really think... Well, we're not going to get far. Spoiler alert, I already know what's going to happen this replay, so to answer the question... Well, to read out the email, first of all. Hey strangers, I have a replay that might take your interest. Had this censored result. I'm gonna not spoil it for you, just too much yet. I'd like to know if there's any personal mistakes I made. I know I probably should have killed the Colorado at the end before I started shooting the Cleveland, but man, you'll find telling you that bit. Mostly because I think this replay is a pretty good demonstration of the importance of turret management and the importance of securing kills. When I say securing kills, I guess you can put it in confirming the kill. That's probably the better way of saying it. Make sure the ship goes down. Because a ship can still continue fighting until basically the health is depleted. Because it's rare for you to be able to remove every single gun, be it a primary or secondary armament on, and including torpedo launchers on a ship before you actually sink it. Which, of course, would be the other way of removing an enemy vessel from, ability to effect combat at range. I mean, obviously, you can still insert the ship itself and use that as a torpedo, but, hey. 3 minutes and a bit into the game, we haven't actually made anything yet. In fact, we haven't really been able to shoot anything yet either. We're finally having a go at the Dunkirk. This is unlikely to do much more than overpen the superstructure. I probably would have shot the Colorado with a scout plane up. The western flank's already lost a tier 8 ship, and our Błyskawica goes down to the enemy's Ryujo, so we're already off to an amazing start. I don't even think our Ryujo has done anything with the planes yet, who even knows, and with this quality of gameplay, we're already playing 11 versus 13. And, well, actually, at this point, we are playing 9 versus 13. Colorado gets one full pen and a overpen against us, not a big deal. We're kind of sitting in the open, and there we go. Baguette torpedoes are inbound because, obviously that Tsar has been spotted on the other side. Baguette can't actually, do much against us with torpedoes. We get a broadside Colorado to shoot at. It's the healthy guy, the other Colorado, I think, on the other side of the map. We saw him earlier with the 49k health, if I remember correctly. So he's stopped. But, well, we have a Baguette in front of us. It's currently blinking us with HE. We know that the Cleveland Kutuzov has been spotted on the other flank. No clue where the Blyotfast is currently. Probably wouldn't be too bad of an idea to consider using a heal sometime soon, just so we can maintain the pressure. However, we need to be careful, because if we try to push up this, I mean, we definitely can. We've kind of force the enemy battleships back at the moment. We do have a New Orleans moving up, and he will have hopefully have a radar instead of a float plane, so we can actually deal with the enemy's baguette, who's around about 7-odd-k away from us. You can see he's opening fire. We could make a point to shoot at the enemy baguette inside of the smoke screen just to suppress him. We do have a allied baguette sneaking up, and I guess if he torpedoes this guy, then that'd be quite useful. Definitely think the right thing for us to do is just to try to pressure up, especially considering the fact that this Richelieu has actually swept himself in here, and is basically going to affect the destruction of the western flank. And I do just gotten himself stuck in the corner, so, well, he's useless and really has been... Well, actually, he's doing great because he's a member of the enemy team, because he's not doing anything for our team. Yeah. Having a go at the Mogami, and don't worry about that, it seems I have some stuff I need to update. Mogami takes a pretty good chunk of damage, but it doesn't really benefit us much. We're reversing against, well, there is a tier 8 battleship over there, but, we can't pen them from the front, they can't pen us from the front, so really, what's the point? We could be spamming HE at them, but that's really the worst that can never happen, realistically speaking. The guy's pushing around the corner. The shooting there is going to land most of it on the belt when he in-turns, so that's not really a good shot, and we can see that. The Richelieu returns fire and lands actually between us and the New Orleans, so he either tried to shoot at us and had the New Orleans locked, or tried to shoot the New Orleans but had us locked. I'm going to guess it's the latter, because the New Orleans is a closer target, and actually kind of the biggest threat right now. But we need to accelerate forwards, we need to make progress. This is, to answer the question in the email, I'd like to know if there was any chance I could have won this. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to win this. It should be rather obvious on the map already. We've been outflanked, we've lost the western side of the map, we don't have any control of the eastern side of the map whatsoever. And right now, I'd say our chances of winning are around 15 to 20%. This is purely based off us having 3 minutes ago pushed down this Richelieu. But without that, I'd say our chances to win the moment this New Orleans dies goes down to 5% or less. And this New Orleans is unlikely to get out of that alive. He's even failed to ram down the Richelieu. I mean, even if he did ram down the Richelieu, it would still go down to 6% or something like that. It's, the chances of winning this are so incredibly horrible when encountered. And there we go, the Ryudro has managed to commit suicide and kill himself. I would not have shot at the Richelieu there, would have held the shot, because we can see the Richelieu is clearly trying to engage guns on the New Orleans. We could potentially have punished him right now if we had loaded guns. A little bit of a hindsight is 2020 things, kind of predicting movements. Rishi is now trying to get away from us by trying to head into the island, and he's definitely done a good job of that, but, hey, the Alabama is finally trying to make a move, but, team-wise, team coordination-wise, this is way too late. The match is basically already lost, even though our Eagle just torps down their Eagle. Yes, we were worried about being torpedoed by him, and it could have been a lot better for us if our Eagle had actually pushed down the enemy's Eagle much earlier, with the battleships pushing up and suppressing the enemy battleship, but kind of making them want to engage us head-on. Being secondary by the Richelieu, I mean, we have yet to use a heal. We're 8 minutes into the game, so I probably would be using one rather soon. Richelieu is likely to be able to engage us with main guns. Probably would have shot a little bit further back, potentially could have gotten a bit more damage, but picking up a Citadel is already good enough. And there you go, no reason, in my opinion, whatsoever not to use a heal right now. 2 people aiming at us, chances are we're going to continue taking fire, so just getting rid of cooldowns, starting cooldowns as early as possible could potentially be very useful into the late game. Alabama, the other guy, gets the kill on the Richelieu, not a big deal at all. And now we need to kill the Dunkirk. Dunkirk is 25mm of armor kind of everywhere, and unfortunately we're shooting at his belt, so this is unlikely to do anything. In fact, 2/3 of the shells didn't even hit the target, so bit of an unfortunate deal there. Again, if we want to shoot at this guy, we want to hit him in the bow because, standard armor. We lol penning the 16-inch guns. Dunkirk has realized that we would really just be wasting ammo trying to shoot at us, so I think he's trying to shoot at Leon. Who cares about what's on the broadside? We need to get in there and finish off kills right now. Get rid of the enemies, get rid of at least one flank, secure one flank so we can turn back and deal with the other. Because right now we're too late. Again, another salvo aimed too far to the left, aimed it a little bit, dropped it a little bit shorter, and aimed it more at his bow. Potentially we could have done a little bit more damage. But it's not a big deal, the Dunkirk's unlikely to kill us anyways, and we'll just kill him off in the next salvo, loading the gun and just shoot him straight into the bow. 2 full penetrations into his bow and that guy's going down. We're wasting time on the heels right now, even if some kind of, one of these weird efficiency mods, and I would have used 1 gun turret to finish off this Dunkirk, because, if we're unlucky and we can see the guy does have a heal up, he might just get another loading up if he had an adrenaline rush and whatnot. These guns don't take that long to load. He could massively punish us. I'd say we're about 2 minutes late on the first heal already. We would in fact have had the cooldown ready, and we would be healing again right now if we had been given the chance, especially with the next fire being pasted on our ship. We don't have full Damacon set up, so the fire burns for a while. So I'd say, we're about 2 minutes behind on healing right now. It's not, spoiler alert, it ain't gonna cost us the game or anything. The game was already cost because of, in general, way too slow on getting going. Not killing the Richelieu didn't actually, not killing the Dunkirk didn't actually punish us, but it very quickly could have. And, well, now currently we can't actually turn back properly. Our front guns are facing forward, so we could actually make an argument for having just maintained rudder and turn in through this. We could have made that turn because, well, right now we're not making this turn, and we definitely ain't making this turn now anyway, so that's too late. But we're still swiveling guns back to engage the Richelieu. We would have been able to do this whether we turned to starboard or port. Both ways we would have gotten guns on target in a reasonable enough time. Richelieu is kind of coming semi-broadside around the corner. I'm pretty sure he's aware of our existence, although, if he really was aware of existence earlier, he likely would have engaged us in the broadside earlier. I definitely would have done so if I was a Richelieu. Especially if he had his baguette boost up, he could have been able to be super maneuverable and be able to evade, at least mitigate damage from other sources, and basically punish us. Now, as we can see, with with our next heal not yet being ready, we already have a chunk of health here that basically is equivalent to one heal. Even if you have some kind of efficiency mod and go, wow, strangers, I could have healed 100 more health. Yeah, well, great, 100 more health, great. Well, are you really going to wait 2 minutes, which is an entire cooldown plus next heal usage, to wait this 100 health out, and then, get focused down and lose, let's say your 5,000 health in the course of 1 minute before you can get your next heal up? So, I personally recommend usage of consumables, even if it does not give you maximum heal efficiency, at least giving you cooldown the ability to get back and ready for the next engagement. Speaking of engagement, firing on the Colorado here is a huge mistake. I would not even consider it. That is the more important target. Save our Alabama. Basically, reduce the amount of health that he needs to bleed. Pressure the Richelieu so he cannot fight a 1 versus 1 against the Alabama, because right now we're fighting... Well, yeah, sure, we have an advantage against Colorado, but that's disadvantaged, and this is what's important. They could just end up capping us out. So, I mean, farming damage on the Colorado ain't bad. And if we right now just turret management to get our number 3 turret, because pay attention to what's going on with number 3 turret, as our guns are aimed on the starboard side of the ship, port side traverse. Number 3 is currently swiveling to get itself facing around like this. And let's have a look where it's pointing. Oh, it's almost at the Richelieu already. So we could be using number 3 to engage the Richelieu right now, but turns out we're going to swivel at engage the Colorado. Big mistake over there. I will leave a link in the description to my turret management video. It mostly affects battleships, but whatever. You can do it with any ship. Technically, you can do it with gearing as well, but the turret traverse is so fast that it's not really useful in a way. Anyways, good reach on Colorado. The guys kind of fired on us, and again, heal cooldowns, we'd be able to trigger heal right now to counter the Cleveland's shelling, and we're actually turning in towards the Cleveland. Big mistake. Finish off the Colorado, 3,000 health. The secondaries are not good enough to do that on their own. The secondaries have 20mm of penetration, 25mm of armor all over the Colorado. I definitely would get rid of that and then build this into the Cleveland, because, well, it's, currently not good. We got a double fire, we're going to damage control party that, not a bad move in my opinion, but shooting at a broadside Cleveland is always risky business, getting dangerously close to Colorado. I will be using that number 3 turret to finish on Colorado right now, because then we can make a kill on him to stop him from getting our broadside right now. Check this out, we're going to be fully broadside. This is a spectator cam, by the way. We kill the Colorado with number 3 turret, and we can immediately break away to avoid getting too close to the Cleveland, because we don't really want to be too close to the Cleveland. He could, if he makes a turn in right now, he could potentially ram us to death. Secondaries are still going at the Cleveland. We're now engaging main guns on the Cleveland, and instead of making a hard breakaway and using our number 3 to finish off the Colorado, I don't think we're going to get any kills right now. The Cleveland is coming in for the ram. Using our heal again, this cooldown would have been available, and we would have been on 25,000 health, healing up towards 30,000 health right now, but it's not going to matter. Trying to get rare turrets on anything, but it's too late. The Cleveland is way too close. He's going to go in for the ram. We cannot kill it, even though it's 68mm of armor. Our secondaries, they just simply don't have the rate of fire to kill the Cleveland on time, even if you tell them to focus on it, and that's us getting rammed to death for 220,000 damage. Quite a hectic ending there. That could have been avoided if we had simply killed off the enemy's Richelieu, with our Eagle currently being dive bombed by the enemy carrier. If we'd focused on killing off that enemy Richelieu, our Eagle could maybe have gotten away with it. I doubt that our other brigade would have been able to survive that engagement overall, but if our Alabama had lived, perhaps he could have had a chance to kill the enemy Bliat first and Kutuzov. And if we had broken away from the fight at the Colorado and Cleveland, once that got nasty and the Colorado, had been sunk by us, we could just break away from the Cleveland, and there's a grand total of nothing that the Cleveland could have done about it, even against a even against a mediocre speed battleship such as the North Carolina, only able to do 27.5 knots without the speed signal on it. Of course, gets better with the speed signal on it, but it's still sub 30, so I don't consider it to be fast. But even then, the Cleveland, which is not a fast cruiser itself, either it's sub 35 knots, so, the Cleveland would not have been able to catch up to us, not at least be able to catch up to us before our secondaries and main guns melt them. And if you're going to shoot a Cleveland like that, honestly, shooting HE at him would have been a heck of a lot better of an ammunition choice. Again, 16mm of armor, our secondaries will pen that, though. So it gives us a little bit of a bonus damage against the Cleveland there, but our AP, sure, we can go for the Citadels, but if he's just going to sell broadside onto us, and it's actually rather the smart decision by him there, because 16mm of armor means that it's not easy to get Citadel shots against that, unless, of course, I don't know, some kind of weird RNG happens, and you do flop him into the Citadel, but beyond that, I would not count on it. It's rather difficult. You need to drop the shells into the water in that kind of a range. It's not easy. If you had 7-8 kilometer range against the Cleveland and then had the fight against them, then yes, being broadside is going to likely kill a Citadel or two every now and then. But that's because your shells, they'll fall, more towards the Citadel and hit it instead of the, because the Citadel and the engineering is waterline, and I think the magazines are submerged. So, otherwise you're just going to overpen, and that's pretty much what happened. Higher shell velocity at closer ranges and whatnot, with the arming times mean that you'll just go in one end and right out the other again. So yeah, again, going back to the email, I know I probably should have killed the Colorado at the end before I started shooting the Cleveland. Definitely the right thing, and again, breaking away would have saved us the ram in the end. Would it have permitted us to win the game? Perhaps. Small chance of that. Only if we'd killed the Richelieu and allowed our Alabama to survive, we could have been able to stage a comeback by just, killing off the tier 8 battleships, because, battleships are overpowered, and the system itself leans on having health, armor, and firepower, because that's how World of Warships is built. So, being able to take advantage of that and come back against an enemy cruiser group, again, Alabama and North Carolinas don't have 32mm armor that Blyotfest and Kutuzov can penetrate with their IFHE high explosive spam. 37, your decks will resist that, it's only your side plating that's 32, which will take damage, so you just maintain full bow on, and it's only really your bow that can take the damage there. And that's eventually going to saturate, so the damage it deal against it is reduced quite heavily. Same for your superstructure, those seem to saturate rather quickly. Anyways, the thing that really made it so that this game would not have been able to be effectively won without the enemy massively throwing was not having either control over the lost western flank or a successful push through the eastern flank early enough, because we lost control of the western flank incredibly early. Very well made pincer move by the enemy's Richelieu, who went there, cutting off the fleet there and just locking them down, inserting the guns, and forward-facing Richelieu guns are useful for that. I mean, granted, we were fighting 11 versus 13 at the start, but I don't think even if the Ryujo had done something useful this game, instead of sitting there bitching and whining like the idiot he was, even with that, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the result, because it really is down to the top tier battleships to make their moves. And unfortunately, the Alabama and us were just too late to get into it. So the Alabama lost a lot of health and in the end couldn't do anything. And we never focused on the right targets in support of our Alabama, kind of resulting in two individual fights of 1 versus 2. We fought the Cleveland and the Colorado. The Alabama fought the Richelieu plus, well, actually realistically almost 3, because he had a Kutuzov and the Blyotfest to deal with as well, on top of potentially the Hatsuharu. So it's, we were in general fighting outnumbered 1-2 in the end, instead of us finishing off the Richelieu, which would be actually 3 versus 1, the one enemy Richelieu, and then concentrating the firepower against each individual fight we're dealing with. We had more than enough health to combat the Colorado and the Cleveland on our own. Those guys, well, they would have just thrown their ships away to us, so the throw was coming from the enemy side. We just never really managed to capitalize on it due to the fact that we were not actually cohesively working together as a team. And with the amount of health that we had, which would have been even better if we'd been managing our heal cooldowns, with the health that we had remaining at the end of that battle, we definitely kind of could serve as the anvil upon which the rest of the team could hammer the enemy one by one into submission on us. it really would have been a question of getting the resets on the capture points, but as long as we can get those resets in, I definitely think that this game could have been perfectly won with a lot of elbow grease put into the game to get some carry out of it. But I definitely think that if we had been able to either breach the east or cover up the west, then at least 25% chance the win could have been made. But once both sides were basically, east was no progress and west was completely lost, that chance really fell down to sub 5% chances of winning, and it kind of showed in the end. But yes, 220,000 damage, parts of it from a ram, although it's like, 5,000 damage ram on the Cleveland. Our secondaries just didn't have the damage output to kill him before, again, because we didn't break away. Even a small breakaway in the end would have saved us a ram. 83 shell hits plus 5 citadels, 9 planes shot down, but half of these were float planes. 2 in caps, which I don't even remember or care what was. I think one might be an initiate gun to the initiate that was about to die anyways. 3 kills, 5 fires, and of course 1 flooding from a full speed ram. 106 secondary hits, which is rather a rare sight on a US battleship. Having a look at the detailed report screen, let's have a look at the secondary battery. The secondary actually did 10k damage, which is not a bad result overall. I bet you a bunch of this was against the Cleveland, or at least a good chunk of this was from the Cleveland. Again, 16mm of armor. Good versus AP, very weak against HE. Our main guns almost did 200,000 damage on their own, a very impressive result overall. Unfortunately, I would just say it was too little too late, and we never actually made the initial move that could potentially have at least given us a chance to win. That's reasonable. Fire damage, 7k fire damage, and again, not confirming this kill, not confirming the kill on the Richelieu. I think, no, this Richelieu over here not confirming the kill against him either, I think really did not help us. Plane shot down 5 torpedo bombers. I think these were mostly dual-purpose chips and a couple of other assorted planes. Damage we received, high explosives only 18k. Again, over 200 shells. Remember, well, some of these are secondary hits against high armor, but also IFHE spam against our deck of 37mm is actually non-pen zones. Armor-piercing shells didn't do too much, in fact less than 1000 average damage per AP shell against us, which again is rather good. Good use of the armor overall. Fire damage received 5 fires for 25k average damage each. We did damage on a double fire from the Cleveland, which was rather annoying, but we would have had to help to sustain that even if we did not damage control. But in that situation, I don't really see a reason not to damage on that. It's perfectly fine. But in the end, what sank us was the ramming from the Cleveland. The Cleveland just dealt his health immediately to us due to the high-speed collision. This isn't really that interesting. Here we go. We almost actually made the top score of everyone on the team, although there are 2 people on the winning team that got more than us. Remember, this is a defeat score, not a victory score. This is a replay sent in from at least 2 months ago. So don't worry about these ranks. These are not from the current ranked season. Our Tier 6 division actually got themselves to be second on the scoreboard. This Alabama over here probably just had really bad luck with the guns. Alabama guns not known for their reliability overall. North Carolina actually are. New Orleans he actually got a pretty high score considering he died rather early, but the rest of the team didn't seem to achieve too much. The enemy team had 2 players with 0 XP, although I wouldn't consider that to be 0 XP. I consider that to be at least 600-700, considering the fact that this Ryuja was on the enemy team for all intents and purposes. I doubt the Mogami had quit the game. He probably just had a crashed internet, PC, whatever, because this is very good matchmaking for him. But even with that, we couldn't actually make the progress because, we were fighting 11 versus, I'll consider him to be there because he would have kind of been a nuisance overall in the end, keeping things spotted and still something we need to use shells to blow up in the end. So, shells that could have been used to blow up other things. So definitely still serves some form of purpose, but obviously would have served a lot more purpose for them if he had been playing, which would have meant that our chances to win realistically would have been even worse than that already. But like I said, the enemy team's cruisers definitely had the superior end of the firepower scale, and the Cleveland actually makes second score, having picked up the kill on us with the ramming in the end as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below to a video on turret management. Could have been an incredibly useful skill to take advantage of in this battle. Being able to keep our rear turret engaging a different target to what our front turrets were engaging in front of us. Although personally, I still would have just recommended using all of our guns to engage the Richelieu on the enemy team while just charging down the Colorado, or at least getting close enough to be able to, make a mess out of him without getting too close so that, we get rammed by him or the Cleveland. Yes, hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. Give it a like, share with your friends. If you did, tell me in the comment section below if you would have done something differently or if you think I made a mistake with the commentary. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.